Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Sue, and today we are going to be doing a gentle yoga class that focuses on arms and shoulders. To do this class, you will need a strap or a scarf, something that's a little bit longer. Let us begin in a comfortable seated position. You can place a blanket or a bolster or even a pillow under the hips for a little support and a little lift. We will sit with one shin in front of the other or stack shins, whatever's most comfortable for you. Take a moment, close your eyes, place your hands on your thighs or on your knees. Allow the shoulders to relax and begin by focusing on your breath flowing in and out through the nose. With your next exhale, soften your facial features. Allow your limbs to relax. A few more breaths here. Set aside everything else. And take one more inhale in through the nose and a soft exhale out through the mouth. Gently open your eyes and welcome. So let us switch the legs around so that you're comfortable, and place your hands on your knees or on your shins. We'll start by rolling out the shoulders. Shrug your shoulders up towards the ears and then roll it down and back. Okay? Inhale and exhale. One more. Let's switch directions. Start to move the spine as well. So draw the chest forward and then take it back, rounding the spine as you take it back. Press your chest forward as you lean forward. Exhale, take it back. It's a seated cat-cows. Try to feel that movement through the shoulders as well, the arms a little. Don't worry about being static. It's a flowing movement. I'm just trying to warm up the body here a little. Take it into circular movement, upper body circles. It can be small circles or big circles. Really being mindful and paying attention to what's being done as you move. Muscles that they're being compressed or stretched. Switch directions. You can close your eyes here. It allows you to be focusing inwardly. And then find your way back to the middle, seated tall. As always, switch those legs around whenever you feel like it. Okay. Let us start with some seated meditation, and it's just meditating with the movement of your arms and movement of the breath, so linking breath and movement together. Place your hands on your thighs to begin, and then with your inhale, palms up, reach the arms up and overhead, and then like you're pushing down, palms facing down, exhale and empty out the lungs. Okay? Palms up, inhale, stretch the arms up and overhead, and palms facing down. Empty the breath, empty the lungs. Inhale. Exhale. Just moving at your own pace. As you stretch the arms out, try reaching them back a little bit more. Let's do one more of those. Perfect. Place that right hand on the ground. Take your left hand, reach it up towards the ceiling and lean to the opposite side. Use that hand that's on the ground to push into the ground so that both hips are grounded. If possible, take your gaze up towards the ceiling. A little peek under that left arm. One more deep breath and inhale, come back up. Same thing on the other side. Inhale to lift and exhale, leaning over. One more deep breath. Inhale, come on back up. Interlace the fingers behind your backs. You want it so that the palms are facing one another. Press your hands gently away from the hips. As you do this, allow the chest to puff up towards the ceiling. Take one more deep breath. And then release. Place your hands out in front of you. And if it's okay to round out the spine, soften into a forward bow. One more deep breath. And start to make your way back up to seated. Now we're coming in onto our hands and knees. Make sure your knees are comfortable. You can grab a hold of a blanket and pat those knees. Coming into a tabletop position onto your hands and knees. Good spread to the fingers. Make sure that the wrists are under the shoulders. Knees are about hips width apart, toes pointed straight back. You could curl it under as well, not a problem. Let's press down into the hands and arch the back like a cat. So stay here for a moment, really feel that stretch to the shoulders. Feel the tailbone tucked under. Continue to breathe. You want to keep that breath flowing. In our yoga practice, we try not to hold on to our breath. Okay, so keep breathing. And reverse the curvature of your spine. Allow the belly to drop, lift the chin. Really feel that stretch to the front of the body. Let's do that one more time. Cat pose, arch the spine. Cow pose. Let the belly drop. Keep the hips up high. Lift and turn your gaze forward. One more deep breath. And come on back up into a tabletop pose. Draw back into child's pose as best as you can. Place a block in between the hips or support under the hips if you need it. Allow the forehead to relax onto the ground. You might have to draw your knees out a little wider to make space for your belly. But however you're able to settle in, do so. Arms can be stretched out, or if it's more comfortable, place your forehead on your forearms. While remaining in child's pose, start to walk the upper body towards one side of the mat. Maybe stretch your arms out as well. You just want to feel that stretch to the side of the body. Once you're there, settle in again. Inhale to come back to center. Same thing on the other side. And let's come on back to the middle, back to the center. Press back up into a tabletop pose. Okay. Make sure that the hips are over the knees. Walk your hands slightly forward. Place your forearms on the ground and begin to melt the chest down towards the mat. Maybe the forehead touches the ground. If you feel this in the shoulders, great. Stay where you are. If you need a little bit more, continue to walk those hands forward. Forearms can lift off the ground and then allow the chest to melt. It doesn't have to be a very extreme melt. You can just do your best here as long as you're feeling the stretch to the front of the shoulders, opening up to the upper chest a little. One more deep breath. And then come on back up into tabletop pose. Draw back once again into a child's pose, allowing the hips to sink in, softening. Good. Take that one more deep breath in your child's pose. And inhale to come back up into a tabletop pose again. Now we're going to start to warm up with our half sun salutations. You can do whatever works for you here. So we're coming into a tabletop position on your hands and knees. Sorry, not tabletop, a high push-up on your knees. Okay, so you're walking your knees back a little, walking your hands forward, making sure that the shoulders are stacked over the wrists and toes can be pointed straight back. Now next exhale, draw back as far back as you can. Just like we did before, let the head drop in between the biceps. Hips are high. And then inhale to shift forward. So let's start off with that. Exhale to draw back. So working the whole body here, but focusing on those shoulders and arms. So exhale, draw back, and then coming back forward into that high push-up again. Now you might want to stick with that. If it's okay for you to come into a low push-up, continue to shift slightly forward and take low push-up, elbows hugging close to the body, land your belly on the ground, and only come up as high as comfortable for your cobra, taking an inhale as you do that. And then exhale to draw back. So that's our little flow. You can stick to just shifting back and forth, or you can do your flow, okay? So inhale to shift forward. Take that low push-up as you exhale. Inhale into cobra, and then exhaling it back. Keep going. Just at your own pace, but you need to listen to your body. If you need to take a break, go for it. Pause the video or take child's pose. And one more. Once you come back into your tabletop, walk your right hand forward and place a left forearm on the ground. A comfortable position, maybe about a 45-degree or parallel to the top edge of the mat. And this time we're doing a half puppy pose, just really focusing on that right shoulder. You can place your forehead on your forearms here, or just allow your gaze to turn forward, melting the chest down towards the ground. So really getting that right shoulder. It might not be that extreme for you here today. You might have to just use the other hand to brace so that you can feel that shoulder stretch on the right side. Okay, so left hand can be on the ground. Now let's switch sides. Come on back up. Take your other hand, left hand forward, right forearm on the ground, and then begin to melt the chest down towards the ground. Again, really trying to feel it through the underarm, upper chest. One more deep breath. Carefully make your way back up into tabletop and just on your own doing some cats and cows. Good. Now we're going to take it into a side stretch, coming back into that puppy pose, both hands forward this time. Again, forearms can be on the ground. Keep the hips up high, melt the chest down. Now in your own way, walk your hands towards one side of the mat. Okay, only going as far as comfortable, and then continue to melt the chest down. You want to really feel that to the opposite side. So if you're walking towards the left, your right shoulder should feel that. And then see if you can press the hips back a little further to get a deeper stretch. Come on back up and repeat the same thing on the other side. Excellent. Come on back into seated and curl your toes under to help your way up into hero's pose. And then you can either stay here with the toes curled under, place a block under the hips, or come into heroes. Okay, so if heroes is not comfortable for you, go ahead and prop back onto your hips, grab a seat instead. So in your hero's pose, as you come into hero's pose today, you want to make sure that you're able to sit upright. Do whatever it takes, any kind of props. Okay. Sit upright. So start to get a little bit of a stretch to the legs as well. Now take your inhale to stretch your arms up and overhead. And then swing that left arm under the right. Palms together if possible. If that's hard for you, you do your best approximation of the pose. Allow the shoulders to relax. Sit tall. You can inhale to stretch the arms up towards the ceiling, puffing the chest up. And then as you exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin in and draw the elbows in towards the belly. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. And exhale. And come on back up to seated. Stretch the arms out and overhead. And then swing that left arm under the right. Shoulders relax. Draw the arms slightly away from the body. Try your best to sit tall. With your inhale, stretch the arms up. And then exhale. Round. Inhale. And exhale. Great, come on back. Unwind the arms, stretch the arms up and overhead. And then release. Just give those poor legs a bit of a break. Come into tabletop to stretch them out, one at a time. Or you can move into downward facing dog if downward dog's all right for you today. Curl those toes under, lift up and back into downward dog. If you're in downward dog, pedal out the feet, bend one knee and the other, and then the other. Slow, controlled movements. And then downward facing dog. Find your way into a forward bend. Walk your feet up or walk your hands in. Allow the upper body to relax as you soften, bending the knees. Gently sway the spine, the upper body side to side. Little wave. Drawing that infinity symbol on the ground. And coming back to the middle, soft knees. Take your time to come all the way up to standing. So 2 or 3 deep breaths. And you're up to standing. Roll the shoulders away from your ears. Make any adjustments that you need to make. And then let's take your inhale to stretch the arms up and overhead. Interlace fingers, pointer index fingers. Lean towards the left side. And you want to take your gaze slightly under the right arm. Keep breathing. Inhale, draw back to center. Same thing on the other side. Great. Inhale, come on back to the center. Release your hands, interlace the fingers behind your back, and then fold into a forward bend. You can stay halfway, or if you have a little bit more flexibility to the hamstrings and the calves, press the hands away from the hips. You can come further forward, press the hands away from the hips as you do that. Relax the neck and the face, and just deep breaths. Take one more. And soften, release, relax your arms and let them just dangle loosely down towards the ground. Maybe just swing the body side to side again here, reversing your infinity symbol. And then come on back up. Again, taking your time to come all the way back up, rolling up, drawing the shoulders away from your ears. And then let's grab a hold of our strap next. You want to be able to hold onto the strap about a shoulder width to start off with, holding onto the strap loosely. And then we're taking our arms up and overhead, and allowing the arms to draw wider, still holding onto the strap. And then just allowing, see if you can bring the arms back about shoulder height. And you might have to loosen the strap if this feels really uncomfortable. And just hold it there. Draw your belly in, stay strong. Good. And then allow your chest to rotate towards one side. And come on back to the center and to the other side. Inhale, draw back to the middle, and do your very best to reverse and come back to the front. Allow your arms to relax for a moment, roll out those shoulders. Okay, and next we're taking our strap into the left arm, and we're reaching that left arm up and back. Okay, so you can use the other hand, you can just hold it overhead and working on the mobility of that left shoulder joint. So reaching it up and back and up and forward. Almost as though you're taking that left shoulder joint out of its socket. I'll switch to the other side, right hand reaching up and back and up and forward. Good. One more. And relax and roll those shoulders out a little. Let's try that one more time. Okay, inhale to stretch your arms up and overhead. Let those arms stretch out as far until you feel a little bit of a stretch, okay? And then allow those arms to drop about shoulder height. And just trying your best to keep it level. One shoulder might be a little tighter than the other, so you might have a little bit of an imbalance there. Again, try not to let the belly pop forward here, draw it in. You want to stay strong, protect the low back. Let's take that spinal twist over to one side. Gets tiring here, keeping the arms where it is. That's normal. Come back to the center, same thing on the other side. Good. Come back to the middle and stretch those arms up and overhead and back to the front. Take a moment to roll out those shoulders. Good. Let's release the straps for a moment. Off to the side. Plant your feet firmly on the ground, interlace fingers and press the palms up towards the ceiling. Let's take a side stretch over to the right side. Inhale, come back to the center and over to the other side. Good. Good. Inhale, draw back to the middle. Release the hands, interlace the fingers behind your back, switching the grip around. If you always have it one way, switch it around. Now let's take that forward bend again. It's okay to have the knees soft. It's okay if the arms can come further away from the hips, but try your best to lift just slightly off. It's a good place here too. If you really have trouble interlacing your fingers, grab a hold of the strap. You have it handy and you can use a strap to help you. In your own way, whether you're holding the strap or not, you're going to lean your hands slightly over to one side. Draw back to center and over to the other side. And then release, soften, let the arms dangle down towards the ground. With your hands on your shins, lift up halfway. Look for a flat back and send your gaze forward for this version. Draw your belly button in, straight legs if possible, long spine, one more breath. And exhale to fold into forward bend. Inhale, come all the way back up, taking your time. This time you can stretch your arms out and overhead, maybe taking a gentle back bend. And then exhale back to the very start. You can do this next pose standing or seated. I'll just do standing. Take your left hand and stretch it out in front of you, and with your right hand, gently pull the fingers back towards you. So you get that forearm stretch. Good. And then allow your right shoulder to drop and left ear to drop towards the left shoulder. So just mirroring me. And play around with the angle of your chin until you get a good stretch to the shoulder, into the neck as well. Let's release that and switch. Allow the left shoulder to drop a little, and then right ear drops towards the right shoulder. One more deep breath. And let's release that, soften. Take a moment to roll out those wrists, and we're going to come and grab a seat. Okay. Now, if possible, come into cow face pose with the legs, and that means we're taking the legs straight out, and see if you can bring the right knee over the left, and then at the same time, if it doesn't hurt your bottom knee, your left knee, tuck that left foot in, coming into cow face pose. So with this one, the soles of both feet are exposed, and you're trying your best to squeeze the thighs in as close as you can towards one another, and hips are level to the ground. So you do your best, and if you find it really unsteady, you might as well straighten out that left leg. If this is really uncomfortable for you, just come into a regular seated position. We're more focused on our arms anyways today. So once you come into seated, grab a hold of the strap with your left arm. If you're holding onto the strap, okay, take your arm and stretch it up towards the ceiling, and then allow for a bend at the elbows, trying your best to keep the bicep as close to the ear, so as the tricep is straight up and down. Use your other hand, your right hand, to help, just holding onto the elbow. Just draw it in a little, trying not to force into it, just doing your best. Okay. Now sit upright, draw your belly in, sit upright, gaze forward. Take your right hand, stretch it out, shoulder height, turn the palms down, and bring that arm across the low back and grab a hold of the strap as you do that. Okay. So as you're doing this, you'll want to make sure that You're seated upright. So even if your hands down quite low to the waist, you can begin to slowly walk it up. It may or may not happen today. So you just continue to walk it up. Some of you may be able to find a bind. So your hands may be able to touch and you might be able to find a bind today. Okay, and if your right shoulder is really tight like mine is today, it might not happen, right? So you can just do your best. Stay right here. Hold it. One more breath. And then release. And lean back so that you can unwind those legs and switch it around. This time your left knee is on top. Your right leg may or may not be straight out in front of you. Squeeze those legs in as close as you can, seated upright. And belly in. Take your right hand and grab a hold of that strap straight up towards the ceiling first, and then bend at the elbow. Use your other hand to help bring that arm in as close as possible while sitting upright. Left arm out, thumbs down, bring that arm across the low back. Look for that bind. And you can continue to walk the hands in a little closer towards one another. One more deep breath. And then carefully unwind those legs. You can put the straps aside. Okay. Come into a comfortable seated position. Or if your legs are tight, just take those windshield wipers. Let the knees drop side to side. Good. All right. So we're going to come down onto our back and just take a final twist. It's always nice to finish off the yoga class, and then into Savasana. So, come on down to your back. Draw your knees into the chest. Give that little bit of a hug. You won't need those straps anymore. Okay. A little bit of a roll out here. Now let's take off spinal twist. Place your feet on the ground and then bump your hips slightly over to the right side of the mat. Wrap your right knee over the left and let the knees drop to the left side. So you can stretch your arms out shoulder height if you have the room. If not, just cactus arms, just allowing the shoulders to really ground down onto the mat. If this is too much for you today, just let the knees stack. Draw back to the center, bump your hips towards the right side, and you can lift the right knee over the left and do the same thing. Might have a little spinal adjustment as you do this. Sometimes those cracks are alarming, but it's nothing to worry about unless it hurts. Let's draw back to the center. Make sure that the hips are back to the middle of the mat. And we're going to finish off with our Savasana. If you're leaving us here, thank you very much for joining the class. I wish you a beautiful day ahead of you, and namaste. For the rest of us, stretch out into a comfortable Shavasana for your body. Close your eyes and relax. Feel yourself grow heavy and sink deep into your space. And with calm body and calm mind, enjoy your Shavasana. Very peacefully and mindfully, start to awaken the body. Take deeper breaths, some small movements. Circle out those wrists and ankles. When you're ready to take that big stretch, reach those arms overhead. Big stretch from toes to fingertips. And exhale. One more hug of the knees into the chest. Give that a good roll out. And then come on back up and grab a seat. I'd like to thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that and that you feel a little freer through the shoulders and the arms. Namaste.